Thank you for joining us for another episode of USATF's Journey to Gold Zone podcast. I'm your host, Erik Kynard Jr., joined by the Annette Echikunwoke.
There you
Did I
go.
say it right?
Yeah,
I'm good?
You're there.
I might be Nigerian. So, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Thank you for joining us finally.
Thank you for having me.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It took you a while to get here.
Oh, you know.
No, I'm just playing.
Okay.
I'm not going to bag on you. But, so, Olympic silver medalist.
Yes.
Women's hammer throw.
Yeah.
How are you? Ohio zone. I'm an Ohio native as well.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about, your journey, your inception into the women's hammer. Susan Seaton.
Yes.
East Germany, the coach. She really does her thing.
She surely does.
University of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Been to University of Cincinnati 20 years, I think,
yeah.
as a coach.
Yeah,
She's
and
been a head coach.
She's been a head coach for 10 years, and I've been with her that whole time. So I've been with her for like half her journey at UC.
Okay.
It's kind of crazy to think about. Yeah.
So, Columbus suburbs to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
You did not go to Ohio State.
Did
you go against the grain there? That's
well,
tough.
They didn't recruit me.
Okay.
That was it. That's what happened.
They
didn't recruit me.
That's
on them, unfortunately.
I can understand that. I've had some recruitment debacles with that university when I was in high school too. That I felt like they dropped the ball, you know what I mean? So I understand that. But we don't have to talk about the Buckeyes. No. We can talk about the Bearcats. Period. How was your experience in Cincinnati?
It was good.
At the university?
No, Cincinnati was good. It treated me well. And like the University of Cincinnati and then just Cincinnati in general is like a very big sports town. They have major sports teams. So like they're very behind their athletes. So I still feel like I get a lot of support there, even being a post-collegiate athlete.
Post-collegiate, they're training only, or are you doing some coaching and volunteering also?
I'm doing volunteer coaching as well. So I'm helping with the team, mainly the throws, of course. So when Susan's not there, I'm like stepping in and being the coach. And then even when she is there, just helping out, giving tips, life advice, all the things. So it's fun. It's a fun little side gig.
Now, how did you, because you're from Ohio, hammer, how did this happen?
I picked it up when I went to UC. So they recruited me based off of shot put and discus.
Right.
And then, as you know, they don't do the hammer in high school at all. And so from there, like at the University of Cincinnati, I picked up hammer. And like my first year, I didn't even throw over 50 meters. I was like, okay. And then the next year I went to nationals and placed 8th. So it was a big 180.
I'm going to look directly into this camera right here. Her first year, she didn't throw over 50 meters. So you've been out of college how long now?
6 years.
You've been out of college for 6 years.
Crazy.
I mean, you've only been throwing a hammer for 10 years.
Yeah. Going on 11 years.
Going on 11 years, and you won a silver medal at the Olympics.
Yeah. Kind of cool.
Unbelievable. Talk about like kind of cool. It's unbelievable, especially to pick up an event so late. I mean, that is obviously the hammer is one of those things where you kind of have to be an athlete to do it.
Yeah.
So it helps. I know a little bit from experience that you are an athlete.
Yeah, a little bit.
And it's so funny because I'm not a gambler. But I definitely picked you to do well based on seeing your athleticism in the warm-ups.
I
and
appreciate
you
that.
probably don't know what I'm talking about.
No.
We're going to just touch on that right now.
Okay.
So in Paris, I saw you sprinting.
Oh, okay.
Warming up.
You saw me? Okay.
Yes,
all right.
yes. And that's something that you do.
I do.
Yes.
Every Monday.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw you sprinting in Paris, and I was like, wait, what? Like, I don't think I've ever seen a hammer thrower sprint before. I mean, obviously you see people throw the jab.
Yeah.
Javelin athletes, they have to obviously run a little bit.
Yeah,
but
of
I was
course.
like, wait. And that might, you know what I mean?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You can move your puppies a little bit. You can move your puppies
I try
a
my
little
best.
bit.
I try my best.
Puppies.
I'm trying. No, it's funny. Every Monday I get on the line to like do a sprint workout, and I'm like, Jesus, I don't even have it in me today because it's Monday. You're coming off the weekend. But yeah, in Paris, I was like primed and ready to go.
Yeah.
Like I was not playing around, and it felt like going into qualifying felt like, okay, let's just get to the final. Like I already felt like I was going to go to the final. And then so like just everything around the preparation and then going into the final, like it felt like, okay, like let's do something. I'm not here to just be a spectator. I'm here to like do something.
I definitely sense there that your aura, your energy was that you were not coming to watch the meet.
Absolutely not.
Like, you were coming for people to watch you.
Hey,
in the meet.
yes. Amen.
And to, for that, it was your first Olympics, right?
Yeah.
For that to be your first Olympics, that right there, that level of confidence was like, for me, just as an observer, you know, being there to help and, you know, chop the wood and carry the water, so to speak. It was like, oh, she's like, and then seeing you sprint too, I was like, wait, no, like she is 100% in warrior mode and ready to get this done. So talk to me a little bit about your journey to the Olympics, because you're culturally Nigerian American, right? Yeah. And you made a switch.
I did.
And that's not easy for most people to do in our sport. And it's especially not easy, I'm sure, as a Nigerian for you to do at home with your family. So just talk about a little bit to me, you know, the cultural impact of, you know, your upbringing, being a Nigerian American, and then, you know, how difficult that was for you to make that decision, if it was difficult at all.
Sure.
And, you know, what those ramifications look like.
No, I mean, what's so funny is that when I was considering like what I wanted to do post collegiately or what team I wanted to represent, just knowing I had the option to represent Nigeria, I was like, okay, really, I want to give myself the best outcome, the best chance to be making teams. And at the time I thought, okay, Nigeria, I felt like, it makes sense. You know, they don't have as many hammer throwers. Like US is stacked even more now in the hammer throw. And I was like, okay, I want to give myself the best chance. And I told my parents about it. I was like, I want to go for Nigeria. They're like, are you sure? Every time I brought it up, they're like, are you sure? Okay. Because with athletics there, it's connected to the government.
Right.
And so they know how the government operates. Therefore, they're like,
a little difficult.
It's gonna be a little trying. And I was like, no, it should be fine. Like, I just want to place on the team. That was the biggest thing. And then went to Tokyo in 2021, didn't get to compete there just due to technical issues with admin and drug testing. And not that I didn't pass a drug test, it's just didn't do drug tests that were needed. And we had no idea about it, us athletes. 10 of us athletes were affected. And there was just kind of this dismissal a little bit on Nigeria's end. And I saw that and I was like, I don't know that I have the heart to kind of keep going for them. And then I took that and I was like, okay, at first it was really devastating and like obviously terrible, because it's like you train all your life, train all this time to be on the biggest stage, and then that's taken away from you and you have no, you know, power in that. And I didn't want that to happen again. But I when it happened, then I was like, shoot, like how do you kind of like move forward with this? But had I been able to compete for Nigeria, it would have been a whole process to like switch to the US. I would have had to sit out for 3 years.
So it was a blessing in disguise.
It was a blessing in disguise. Yeah. So it was really huge in that way. And so I took that, and me and coach talked about it, and we decided, okay, let's go for the US, and best decision I've made for sure.
So this is crazy. Like the story to me, because I remember reading about this and this is before I knew you.
Okay.
Like, and I was semi-retired at the time.
Okay.
And then now to see it and to hear it, right? So you tried to choose the path of least resistance, so to speak.
Yeah.
Met extreme resistance.
Terrible.
And then, you know, overcame, you know, for all intents and purposes, not the obstacle that you feared, which was, you know, competing for a spot on the U.S. team, but overcame the obstacle of competing, you know, on for a spot on a team with great depth.
Yeah.
Tell the people what your Olympic trials looked like.
I won the Olympic trials.
So that was
fun.
And that was, I watched that as well from the little terrace. And that was, you were pretty excited out there.
Yeah, it was good. It was unexpected, but it was good. Like the way, I don't know, the energy there was kind of different, but I was just very honed in. And I could feel everybody else's nervous energy, but I'm not the type of person to kind of get roped into that. I'm just like, okay, let me just stay in my bubble. Me and coach always talk about being in our bubble. And I just stayed in my bubble and just executed the best way I knew how, and ended up winning the trials.
Once again, like from observation as a fan, it seemed like at the trials, I don't want to say you weren't as confident, because you may have been as confident, right?
Sure.
But it seemed like you may have been there just to compete for a spot to get on the team. But when you got to Paris, you knew you were going to win a medal.
Absolutely.
Is that safe to say?
That's what I would say. And I agree with like the not as strong confidence, just because the whole season prior to that was really rough.
Right.
It wasn't what I expected. And especially because I felt like I had been putting more in and like hoping for more to come out, and it just was not persisting that way. Right. And then when I came to the trials, I'm like, you know what? Forget what happened this season. It just what like happens today. What happens today, it just matters. And so I just took that and just honed in on that and ended up winning. So
what has now with Adidas, right? Mm-hmm. What has post-Paris looked like for you? What was coming home like, returning to Ohio, which I'm assuming, hopefully you were met with flowers and parades and all of the things.
Yeah.
What does everything look like?
It's been exciting. It was like very much a celebration for a long time. It felt like for like a good, like 4 or 5 months, just like celebrating. But then obviously still have to get back to training. But then also it wasn't like an instant switch. There were some things that had to transition to get to this point. But no, it's been fun and it's been a journey, and yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
This is like my favorite part about doing anything related to sports and development, right? Especially with athletes, is watching, because I remember you last year, not Olympic trials last year, like 2023, LA Grand Prix, hotel lobby, you know what I'm talking about, right? Meeting your coach, so like watching you become, not that the little girl inside you became a woman so fast, but from an athletic development standpoint, it was kind of like, everybody's transition into what professionalism in our sport is looks different.
Yeah.
A lot of times that's predicated on the level of financial support, and whatever infrastructure you have, in the event area you're in, right? If you're in a popular event area, that looks better.
Yeah.
If you're not, that kind of looks a little more, disenfranchised sometimes,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times, unfortunately, those variables dictates levels of confidence in athletes, right?
Yeah.
And not always is that overcome, and does it always translate into somebody blossoming and blooming into who they are and reaching their full potential. So to see it happen for you so rapidly,
thank you.
It was pretty special, like, because it was, for me, it was kind of one of those things, like, I was telling people before you did, medal, like, I think she's gonna do something. Like, I think she's gonna do something. So
I appreciate that. Yeah. I feel like I was definitely an underdog a little bit. Like, people didn't expect it.
No, but you would be surprised. So, like, it's one of those, you never know who's watching, obviously. And I think that I don't think it's a matter of what people expect. I think it's a matter of like who and how people silently support. You're not, in doing stuff with athletes and different athletes, especially, you're not always in a position where you can cheer loud. You know what I mean?
Sure, no, for sure.
Like, because, in some instances, somebody has success, someone's success is someone's failure, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's like, so it's a difficult task, an arduous task to like dictate how you're able to support people singularly, in their success, and others in, the times of their failures. So
definitely.
I think what's constant in that is, though, how like the individuals develop through that adversity or through that success, and to see you blossom, so quickly through that, it's been definitely a pleasure of mine, for real.
I appreciate it.
So especially you and Coach Seaton, because she was a bulldog, for real.
She's the best. She's helped me develop a lot, just as a person in general, but as a professional too, and just helped me be level-headed and have the right mindset going into every championship, going into every meet. Really, I credit her for that a lot. So
is coaching going to be in your future? Do you feel like you have the patience?
Absolutely not. No, I don't see it for myself. I definitely love doing it at this level of just like volunteer. I could see it maybe at like the high school level. I don't know. They like to have a little fun.
Right.
I like to keep it chill. I feel like the higher level coaching is more, it kind of has more of just that, I don't want to say micromanagement, but there's just like, there's a little bit more of that. And I'm not the type of person, I'm like, you know what you need to do to succeed. So take the steps, or don't. That's up to you. Like, it's what do you want?
It seems like that's a lot of times the difficulty in having extreme success in athletics versus teaching is, you know what it takes.
Yeah.
So when you know what it takes, you're a lot less patient with other people's process, because it's like, oh, you so easily categorize somebody as being unserious, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, you're not serious about this.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
I know I went to college without even throwing a hammer. like, you know what I mean? Like, and then I started with the weight, and then I had to, like, and learn, like, so.
But it's kind of crazy to think about, though, because I feel like I like to have fun with it, but I wasn't the most serious per se, but I was always curious about getting better somehow.
Right.
I just knew, I'm like, okay, I want to be great. These are the things that kind of make it great. Let me just take the steps. But I was kind of silly in college even. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah. So but Coach had patience with me because I know she needed it.
Well, make sure you pay that patience forward. You know what I mean? Make sure you pay that patience forward. Yeah. So outside of your passion in the ring, right, what are you passionate about outside of the ring? Yeah,
I know. I love God, Jesus Christ. I credit him he's the reason I'm even doing this. Because post-collegiately, I didn't even like while I was in college, I didn't see myself doing this. I was like, oh, I'll just go about life. It was good in college. Go figure out life elsewhere.
What did you see yourself doing?
I had no idea. Well, like initially, like undergrad, I was gonna be an actuary, which is crazy to think about it now. But basically, work with insurance companies. Okay. It was kind of boring, but it was math. That was what I was good at. And then grad school, I did marketing. And then that's where I really found my footing. And then that's what I worked in for the past 5 years. But yeah, I think I would like to still be in the marketing space. Okay. And then just passion wise, I mean, I love fashion. I love skincare. That's my jam as well.
Yeah, I need to get some tips. You are glowing over there.
Thank you. I was talking about it with somebody at dinner today. I was just like, yeah, like we're talking about all these like skincare things that we've been doing. It was funny. But yeah, no, I would say those are the things I enjoy. But I think with athletics, it just takes up so much time. Yeah. And so it's like there's only so many things you could have time to be passionate about and actually give your all into. And I'm the type of person, like if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it to like the highest level if I can. So how do you exercise your marketing abilities currently with your own brand? No, I feel like I've not done the best job. I'm not gonna lie. And I feel like especially with track and field, especially in the throws where it's maybe not as much awareness, there has to be where you kind of push your personal brand and bring out that individuality, let people know who you are. And I just feel like I haven't done a great job.
But that's what social media is anyway. I know. Right? Like it's not it's not limited to track and field because unfortunately I hear a lot of athletes say that. Like, oh, with track, it's like, no, like with all sports. Like if you're a basketball player, if you play tennis, if you play soccer or football, your brand identity is not only, what you associate with doing, right? So I mean, you see people's brands live on outside of. I'm not a huge social media guy. I hate I'm not an I hate social media. I low-key hate it too. but I kind of see like people get caught up in that. And I would say one of the most important things that you're gonna have to do whenever you're done throwing is disassociate who you are with what you do, right? Yeah. And the sooner you begin to do that, the easier it'll begin for you to have synonymous or greater success doing other things. Yeah. Okay. Because you'll know your limits are not in what you're doing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Your limits are in what you're doing, if that makes sense.
No, right? I hear you.
So you can train, you can be just as good at marketing and business as you are in, the ring throwing the hammer, right? Yeah. It's just about what those hours and those minutes and those seconds look like. So figure that out. Next time we talk, I want to hear. Okay. I want to see the same supreme confidence, and in that space as I do in the ring.
I got you. I gotta write a business plan for myself.
Yeah, I mean, life doesn't come with an instruction manual by any means. Yeah. However, I think you should definitely have an idea of quadraniums for Olympics. Yeah. You know what your micros and mesos are gonna look like in training, right? You should know what you want those to look like in life outside of training, just a little bit. Yeah, absolutely. Measure that because it goes fast.
It does.
I turned into the old person quick. Now look at me. I'm sitting here doing interviews, right? Life comes at you fast. It does come at you quick. Yeah.
But it makes me grateful for the process, though. I feel like that's what helps me appreciate this journey more because it gets very daunting. Training 6 days a week. I'm like, gosh, dang. Then I'm like, you know what? You only have so much time to do this. Yeah. So, yeah.
You do. Yeah. Because listen, people ask me if I can still do it. I'm like, no. No, not at all. But so we'll work on those. We work on those passions. Us, and I say we because it's we are works in process.
Yeah.
So I'm not, I'm talking to you and I'm telling it to you, but I'm talking to myself too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All right.
And is there anything else you want the people to know? Anything you had to ask me? This is rare. I never ask anybody to ask me anything.
Okay. Do you feel like you have anything you left on the field?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
But I left it intentionally.
Okay.
I think for me, it was a lot happening at one time in my generation as related to all things, right? In sports, media, social media, like a lot of things being introduced at once. I competed for even a brand that was new to the sport of track and field. So everything was like a new thing. It was a new experience. There was no manual there. So, however, in that, I tried to instill in the other athletes and try to tell them like how to clean their plate. Like, hey, listen, I know you feel like you're full, but you should do this.
Okay.
Or, hey, you should do this. You should sit down and do this, or have this conversation. Go do this interview, whatever it is, right? Yeah. But more importantly, spend more time figuring out who you are than you do figuring out what it is or do, spend time doing what it is you're doing, like at training or whatever. Because, it's 1,440 minutes, 24 hours, 86,400 seconds, and then training for track in 4-year cycles or 2-year periods. You break that down so easily. Yeah. Mathematics. You just said you're good at math. Like, so you break it down so easily, but nobody is willing to do the accounting for that in their own lives, I think, sometimes. So I think when things don't go well in track, it feels like, life or the world is coming down on you because you haven't kind of figured out what your world looks like outside of the oval. So I would say the sooner you do that, the better off you'll be, because it'll be easy for you to walk away from. Like, to be done. Like, I left a lot out there, but I left it because I was finished, not because I was careless. Like, I was just done.
Okay.
So
So you just knew when it was good for you to walk away. Like, you had that internal, like, okay.
I came in 4th at the trial. So I decided I was finished, and I came back from an Achilles. I had nothing else mentally to give. Like, so to come back from winning 10, national championships to having, for some people, career-ending injury, and then just miss making a team for Tokyo, I was like, you know what? Okay. All signs are pointing to you're done doing this. Athletes usually only stop when they suck or they get hurt beyond being able to continue. So I wanted to be at peace with my transition out of, the sport or, into doing something else. So, but you ain't interviewing me though. I said you said one question. That was a long, good question.
It's good. Okay.
Appreciate you joining me finally. Finally.
Yes.
No. But and wish you, continued success out here on the circuit. We're preparing for a championship this summer, World Championships in Tokyo. And it'll be a redemption tour for you because your paperwork right this time, and all signs are headed towards success. And I hope that you have a very successful season, as you continue on to the U.S. Championships.
Appreciate it.
And I hope to see you in Tokyo.
Thanks, Erik.
Thank you.
Thank you.